What if I told you that you could buy your first home, move in, and have almost none of the mortgage come out of your own pocket? Not because you're rich, not because you've stumbled onto some secret deal, but because your neighbors are the ones making your mortgage payment for you. That's not a fantasy. It's a strategy with a slightly goofy name called house hacking. And it's hands down the smartest way I know for a regular person to buy their first place and start building real wealth at the same time. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how it works, the low down payment, loans that make it possible, and the real numbers on a deal where the tenants basically pay you to live there. Let's get into it. Quick note before we dive in, I'm a licensed mortgage originator, and this is education, not financial advice for your exact situation. Loan terms and guidelines vary by lender and they change over time. So the numbers I use today are clean, round examples to make the idea easy to follow. Use this understanding on how the pieces fit together and then talk to a licensed pro. That's what I'm here for about your actual deal. Oh, one quick favor before we start, hit that thumbs up. For me, it costs you nothing and it generally helps. Okay, here we go. So let's start with the problem because it's one you've probably felt. There are two big walls standing between a regular person and the real estate. Wall one, buying a home to live in feels out of reach because you think you need a giant down payment. And even once you buy, that whole mortgage is on your shoulders every single month. Wall two, buying a rental property feels even further away because a normal investment wants 20 to 25% down, and that is a mountain of cash saved up. So most people feel stuck and they assume they have to pick one, save for years to buy a home or save even longer to buy a rental. House hacking is one move that knocks down both walls at the same time. Here's the whole idea in a single sentence. You buy a property that has more than one place to live. You move in to one part and then you rent out the rest. The classic version is a small multifamily, a duplex, a triplex, a fourplex. You live in one unit and you rent out the other one, two, or three. But it does not have to be a multifamily. It can be a house with a finished basement apartment, a house with a garage that's been converted to a rental, or even just a regular single family home where you rent out the spare bedrooms to roommates. The principle never changes. Other people's rent helps cover your housing bill. Now, here is the part that makes house hacking so powerful, and it all comes down to the loan. Remember how I said a rental needs 20 to 25% down? That's true when you don't live there. But the moment you actually move into the property, you are not an investor in the bank size. You are a homeowner. And homeowners get the best loans in the entire world. The lowest rates and by far the lowest down payments. And here's the kicker. Those owner occupied loans work on properties with up to 4 units. So you can buy an entire fourplex, 4 doors, 4 rent checks using a simple low down payment homeowner loan purely because you live in one of them. Let me give you actual options. If you qualify for an FHA loan, you can buy a 1 to 4 unit property, live in one unit, and put down just 3.5% on a conventional loan, thanks to recent rule changes. You can now put down as little as 5% on a 2 to 4 unit property that you're going to live in. And if you're a veteran, a VA on a VA loan, you can get into a 1 to 2 unit, 1 to 4 unit property with just zero down. Now compare any of those to 25%, and an investor would have to bring in on the same fourplex. You're getting into the exact same building for a tiny fraction of the cash, purely because it's your home. Real quick, because this generally matters. If this is starting to open any eyes at all for you, something you don't know was even possible, do me a favor and tap that like button. And if you want more videos like this, go ahead and hit the subscribe. Here's the honest reason I asked. This channel is still small, and every single like and every subscribe helps me. Is it? And also it tells YouTube to put this in front of the next person and feels totally locked out of ever owning a home. It's free. It takes 1 second, and it's hands down the single biggest thing you can do to help making these videos. Okay, back to it. You are the other secret weapon, because there is a second advantage most people never hear about. When you buy a 2 to 4 unit home to live in, the lender will often let you use the rent from the other units to help you qualify. Think about that, what that means. The income from the future tenants can actually count towards your own approval. To be careful, they'll usually only count about 75% of the rents, but still, the very building you're trying to buy hands you the extra income to help you buy it. A single family home simply cannot do that for you. It's why a fourplex can sometimes be easier to get approved for than a plain house, even though it costs more because it comes with its own income. Let me make this real with actual members. Say you find a fourplex or a 500 for $520,000. You use a conventional owner occupied loan at 5% down. 5% of 520 is 6,000 or $26,000 to get in, plus your closing costs. Now you're all in monthly. That's principal, interest, tax, and insurance. And because you put less than 20% down, a bit of mortgage insurance comes into it as well. It's $4,100 a month. Sounds like a lot, I know. But watch what happens. You live in one unit. The other 3 units each rent for $1,500 a month. That is $4,500 a month in rent coming in from your neighbors. Your payment is $4,100. Their rent is $4,500. Your tenants are covering your entire mortgage and handing you a few $100s on top. You're living for free, as someone else is buying you a $500,000 building. Now, compare that to how almost everyone else does it. Your friend buys a normal single family house for the same price to live in. Their payment is also around $4,000 a month, except every single dollar of it comes out of their pocket forever. You bought the same amount of real estate, you put a similar amount down, but your tenants pay for your housing bill while your friend pays every cent of their own. Same money going in, completely different outcome. That is the entire magic of house hacking. You didn't get a raise, you just bought the right kind of property. And here's where it gets even better for your future. After you've lived there a while, usually at least a year, you can move out, buy your next place the exact same way, and keep the fourplex as pure rental. Now all fourplexes are paying you. Do that a couple times and you have quietly built a real portfolio, one low down payment home at a time. This is the on ramp for homeowner to investor. And when you get that investor side, the financing shifts over to tools like DSCRs, which I went so deep on that I actually wrote a book about it. DSCR loans made simple. It's on Amazon. If you would like to get if you want a full playbook, the link is down in the description. But house hacking is where the whole journey starts. Now, let me keep you out of the potholes because this is not free lunch. First, and this is the big one, you have to actually live there. These are owner occupied loans. So you generally have to move in within about 60 days and stay for at least a year. Saying you'll live there when you have no attention to is mortgage fraud. So please don't do that. Second, FHA has a special rule on 3 and 4 unit properties called the self-sufficient test, where the building's rent has to cover the entire payment on paper. And that can be tough in pricey areas. So the duplex or the 5% down conventional route is often easier. Third, you're now a landlord. You'll deal with tenants, the occasional empty unit, the occasional midnight call about a broken water heater, and with less than 25% down, you'll be paying mortgage insurance for a while. None of that erases the deal. It just means go in with your eyes open and keep a few months of reserves in the bank for when something breaks. So let's pull it all together. House hacking is buying a property with more than one place to live, moving in one part and letting the rent from the rest of it cover your mortgage. Because you live there, you unlock the best loans there are. 3.5% down with FHA, 5% down conventional on a 2 to 4 unit, or 0 down with a VA loan if you're a veteran, instead of the 25% an investor has to put. The other units can even help you qualify. And when the numbers line up, your tenants pay your housing bill while you own the appreciating asset and build equity every month. Honestly, it's the single best first move in real estate for a regular person. And hardly anyone realizes it's even on the menu. And remember, this is education, not personal advice. So talk to a licensed pro about your exact situation. That's generally what I'm here for. Now, before you go, I want to ask you straight. If this video just cracked an open door you didn't even know was there, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I don't mean that as a throwaway line. This channel is still small and still growing. And every single like and every single subscribe tells YouTube to show this to the next person who's convinced they'll be renting forever. That person might be somebody you know. So if I've earned it today, tap the like, hit the subscribe, and drop me a comment telling me, would you house hack a duplex, or would you go straight for a fourplex? I'll see you in the next one.